happiness at work, or the whole journey from happiness and etc. If you are able to create a culture where people are open, where the management is open, where they feel safe and their interactions are being valued, the satisfaction of those people being happy will definitely create a more happier customer. I'm convinced of it, and I have shown in my businesses in the past that this really works.
If I told you that if you look after your staff, you could be potentially turning over $750 million revenue per year, would you do it? That's exactly what Danny Meyer from the Union Square Hospitality Group did. And I'm telling his story in the next 15 minutes with Nah-Dja Tien, a hotelier who turned multiple properties into #1 on TripAdvisor in Prague by putting his staff well-being first. And he shared the exercises he used to create a positive working culture. Hi, my name is Mauricio Schiller, and you are listening to the Schulering HUB, a podcast made for the curious hotelier. For the next 15 minutes, you will listen to these stories that create positive working culture and the happiness at work concept. So I hope you enjoyed the show and learn something new with Schulering today. Hello, Schulering hospitality people. Welcome back to the Schulering HUB podcast. I'm Mauricio, your host, and today, once again, with Nah-Dja Tien in our quest for happiness in hospitality. Hello, Nah-Dja.
Hi, Maurizio. Nice to hear you again.
Well, yeah, we can see each other. We are lucky people, right? Sorry if you're just listening to this today, but soon we are hoping to get that on video as well. But while we are just listening in your gym, in your car, I hope that you're enjoying as much as we are, because we have a lot of fun here. When we're not recording, we're laughing. So, Nah-Dja, love having you back.
I'm happy to be back, Mauricio. Thank you.
Today we are going to talk about the link between employee and customer satisfaction, something that we've been discussing around in the last few weeks. But there is a common saying, like you look after your employee and they will look after your business. Danny Meyer from the Union Square Hospitality Group says that he discovered that he was failing in expanding his business because he was concentrating the customer. And once he realized that was the employee well-being that came first, he managed to turn what was 2 restaurants to a massive company. So how does employee satisfaction directly impact customer satisfaction in your opinion?
Well, this is a very simple question, and it touches everything that I've done in my career, Mauricio. I'm in this business for 30 years. Since the beginning in Czech Republic, I'm part of the happiness at work. If you don't foster happiness at work, then obviously the relationship between the guests and the happiness of the staff, it has to be something that is in balance. I have a friend. She became a very good friend of mine, Monica Hill. She wrote a book, Put Your People First, and the rest will follow. And this is a specific hospitality book, purely written about putting your people first. And then, like the gentleman that you just mentioned, everything else will follow. And I'm a big believer of that. If you have happy people that are working in your organization, they will, I totally agree, they will carry your business forward. And if you look at the hotels that I've been managed in the past, they are, a great example, because to become #1 on TripAdvisor once, twice, 3 times, it's all related to the topic that we are currently discussing.
The gentleman you said, Danny Meyer's, his story is on Master of Scales, that is written by Reid Hoffman, the creator of LinkedIn. And it's a super cool story because he opened his first restaurant in New York, and it was an amazing restaurant, right? Everyone had an amazing experience, and everyone was talking about his restaurant, and his restaurant was top 5 best restaurants in New York. Sorry to interrupt. If you're enjoying this show and if you're learning something new today, please consider following the show, subscribe to our channel, or leave us a review. It helps us to help more people through the podcast, and it would mean the world to us. Thank you for listening, and we're back on the chat. And for almost 10 years, he didn't open a second one. And everyone was asking him, like, when are you going to open a second one? We want to see what else you can build, or you want something closer to me. And he said, like, now my father failed when he tried to expand the business. I'm not secure enough to do that. I don't want to follow the steps. And he said, I will only open my second restaurant once I can reach 3 items. It's 1, making the second restaurants will improve the first one. 2, I'll have more time for myself. And 3, that the second restaurant will be better than the first restaurant. So when the time finally came that he had that opportunity to make the 3, and he done. And after 18 months, he said that all the 3 things was a disaster. So he didn't have any time for himself. He got the first bad reviews in the first restaurants. That was always a top choice in New York. And the second restaurant was actually a disaster. Like, people were not getting the experience that he was expecting. And that's where he realized that he didn't really wrote the mission and the statements of what he believed that hospitality was. And then he wrote the hospitality coefficient. And he put that employees come first. I will look after my people, and then everything will follow because we have that clear conversation. It's a super cool story. You guys should have a look. But how can we measure employee satisfaction to compare to customer satisfaction?
How can we measure employee satisfaction to customer satisfaction? If you engage with your employees, and the moral or the basic line of everything that we've been discussing over the last week's Worried Show is happiness at work, or the whole journey from happiness and etc. If you are able to create a culture where people are open, where the management is open, where they feel safe, and their interactions are being valued, the satisfaction of those people being happy will definitely create a more happier customer. I'm convinced of it, and I have shown in my businesses in the past that this really works. So one measurement would be, where are you on TripAdvisor? Where are you on Booking.com? If you're able to integrate, measures and procedures in a way to keep your staff happy, it will result in a better result online. I'm convinced of it.
If someone here never listened to our podcast or our quest for happiness, they may be not familiar with real example of how you help or your team help the employee satisfaction to create this great customer experience. Can you share some real life examples from your experience?
Engagement with the people. I mean, we mentioned it in the previous podcast, but I'm very much interested how do people feel on a daily basis. So I implemented tubes in my hotels. The people were able to put the balls inside and say, okay, I am not feeling well today. The ball goes into the tube of I'm not feeling well. If that is the case, you cannot be 100% all the time, smiley if you have bad experience in your life. And it could be whatever, you might not feel well, not sick enough to stay home, but not good enough to stand in front of a client with a big smile. So to interact, to understand that people are people and give them the tasks that they can do at that moment was a big thing for me.
I love your life stories, that story. I love this one of the tubes. I think that I can't wait to see actually that happening in a place that I'm working, just to see how that works.
We should get some feedback. If anybody installs the tube, they're the first one to tell. This should be you. And then you can use them as an example.
Well, I'll see if I can put that in the casino here. I'm not sure. If you are listening today, how has employee satisfaction affected guest experience at your workplace? If you're listening on Spotify, there is a little box there with this question. Just please tap there and give your feedback. Just tell us how that helped you. And if you're not on Spotify, how about commenting on LinkedIn and let us know. Nah-Dja, thank you very much again for sharing your experience, and I pass for happiness in hospitality.
You're more than welcome, Mauricio. It's always a pleasure.